Attract through positive mind power. We all possess mind power. The very fact that we have mental cognition, consciousness, recollection, reason, will, and other attributes of mind is proof that we possess mind power. But this intelligence often expresses itself in a wholly negative manner. Positive mind power is that force of mind which is free of all doubt or hesitation. It implies confidence in self and destiny. It lends a certain definiteness to one's thoughts and words and acts, which does not admit of doubt or denial. As mind power is energy, it may be assumed that mind is actually substance. Although different from matter and invisible, it is another kind of matter. It issues from the brain in electrical radiations and is invisible, but nevertheless all-powerful. It is mind that gives shape and form to all things. It is mind that translates the light rays from the external world into forms and patterns, which defines and classifies these objects, and which in itself gives rise to innumerable pictures and creations that exist only in imagination. When man is able to use this mind power to think, to reason, to differentiate between right and wrong, to love and to worship, he is above the animal plane of consciousness. Mind power may be used in a positive or negative way. There is actually no such thing as a victim of circumstances. Man is not a mere puppet, depending on the interchange and play of internal and external emotions and propulsive forces. Man is, rather, a reasoning, thinking, and intelligent being, superior to all other forms of life on this earth. Man is not only above the animal plane, but he may rise even above the human plane and attain divine consciousness, if he but chooses the events and emotions and thoughts which reflect divinity. Man may select his ideals, standards, ambitions, the dreams and beauty, the divinity which makes of him something finer and greater than any of the other animal creatures in this world. It might be said of man that he may have any destiny he chooses if he applies positive mind power. This power admits of no doubt, condition, qualification, or direction other than his own mental stimulus. Power used in a positive manner will inevitably attract to you those positive circumstances that are reflected in your mind. The mind may be likened to a magnet. A magnet, either naturally or through electrical means, may be given a power to attract to itself any object of a similar substance. Its molecules and atoms vibrate at a certain rate, and it will attract to itself substances that vibrate at the same speed. So too your brain is like a powerful magnet, and it possesses within itself a subtle essence. This essence is mind power. It is invisible and cannot be imprisoned by the skull. It can and does radiate in space, and being a form of matter, can create its pictures or attract its counterpart in the visible world of matter. If you are using this invisible mind power negatively, you can create sickness, poverty, and general unhappiness. The mind forms a picture or pattern, which must manifest itself in the body. It vibrates the atoms and cells of the body so that the same pattern is produced that exists in the mind. If, however, you cause this mind power to vibrate in a positive manner, you fill your consciousness with thoughts of happiness, success, good health, and prosperity. You attract to yourself then the things that you have pictured in your mind. Like attracts like is a mental as well as a physical law. Invisible vibration determines your attraction power. Form a mental picture of what you wish to attract. Make yourself like a magnet, vibrating to a certain mental pattern. This mental essence then, vibrating out into space, will attract to itself, or clothe itself in the very elements it needs to bring about a completion of the mental picture. As the vibratory pattern of a rose is different from that of a carrot, so too, the vibratory power of your brain image stamps in your life the picture you project through mind power. It will be success or failure, depending on whether your mind power is positive or negative. Thoughts create a personal thought atmosphere. This thought atmosphere actually makes itself felt in the outer world by others. If you are creating pictures in your mind that are beautiful, simple, and harmonious, clean-cut, peaceful, loving, healthful, successful, friendly, and prosperous, the world will read into your face and form, words and acts, the positive mind power you are projecting. You alone determine what this thought atmosphere shall be that surrounds you like a perpetual aura. The person who fills his thought atmosphere with negative thoughts of sickness or failure shows these thoughts in visible physical form. He becomes slouch-shouldered and evasive-eyed. He is obvious by his shambling gait, stumbling words, incoherence, and general lack of order. This bodily attitude signifies the thought atmosphere of negativity. Change that thought atmosphere to a positive one, and there is an instant change. The head goes up, the chin juts out, the eyes sparkle with confidence. The breath is deeply inspired, and the diaphragm becomes tense and active. Every atom and cell of that person's body will vibrate with the thought atmosphere of positive thinking. That is positive mind power in action. Your body, your work, your life, your friends, your income, all signify your thought atmosphere. You become like a magnet, and you draw those forces to you. If you vibrate on a low, common, or vulgar plane, you'll find that everything around you will take on that kind of aura. You must work to create the thought atmosphere you wish to reflect in your life. What then is your thought atmosphere? Is it positive? Is it negative? High or low? If you build positive mind power, you can unlock those mystical doors to the new frontiers of a new life. This is a new age, a new power, a miracle working force which man is experiencing. The world today witnesses miracles that have never been performed in any past age, or by any of the sages or prophets of old. Man is able to fly through the air, swim under the seas, heal the sick, save countless millions still unborn from premature death through his wonder-working drugs, and perform feats of greatness that are positive proof of his astounding mind power. Let us now investigate some of the things which man may attain through the projection of this positive mind power. 1. Attainment of success. To bring positive mind power to bear on the attainment of success in life, make it a point to think, talk, write, and dwell constantly on success thoughts. If you wish to color your thought atmosphere with success, it is vital that you spend a good deal of time in thinking and planning success. The person who thinks success and imbues his consciousness with ideas of prosperity generally plans the very things that produce for him the attainment he imagines. If, however, you think, talk, and act with a negative mental atmosphere of failure, you will inevitably color your entire personality and environment with the results of that failure thinking. Rid your consciousness of such negative words, thoughts, and ideas as, "I cannot succeed. I'm afraid. I will fail. I just know I haven't the ability to do that job." Such negative expressions indelibly stamp themselves upon your face and body, show in your voice and posture, and cause you to develop complexes which inhibit your natural abilities. You have the right to expect the best from life, but you must know what it is you want from life first. You must know, with a positive knowledge, what your real value to the world is. Are you only worth $25 a week to your employer? If you had to hire someone for the services you perform, for the knowledge you possess, would you pay more? If you find upon honest self-analysis that you are not worth more, that your mind holds a negative concept of your value, then do something about it. Positive mind power means taking steps to correct the negativity that has been built into your consciousness. Perhaps you lack education. This is easily remedied if you take steps to enroll in a correspondence course or an evening high school, so you may improve your mind and learn some specialized type of work that will make you worth more to the world. 2. Positive mind power in relation to health. What is the mind power you are exerting to keep your body strong and healthy? The body reflects the thoughts you think. Modern science now teaches that body is actually dependent on mind for its perfect functioning. A mind that is filled with fear, worry, hate, anxiety, and other negative emotions creates a bodily chemistry which is destructive to good health. On the other hand, a positive mind, filled with thoughts of happiness, success, and health, creates the power and energy to keep the body healthy. This mind power radiates a neural force which communicates itself to the nerves and muscles, glands, and organs. This electrical life force stimulates the gastric juices, helps the glands maintain normalcy, and assists the heart in its vital function. Any sudden shock of fear or a reaction to danger results in a rush of blood from the brain to the internal organs, causing the face to become pale, the breath to be shallow, and many times the pulse beat to double. Often such a sudden mental shock has been the cause of death. If the mind is in a state of self-induced shock constantly, with ever-recurring negative emotions, the body will gradually register such shocks in its organic structure, and finally show the effect in failure of vital organs, disease, or even death itself. When your mind is in its normal, confident, and happy state, radiating a positive mind power, the intelligence within every atom and cell of your body is permitted to express itself. The subconscious mind performs its functions of regulating the blood pressure and heartbeat, digestion, breathing, and circulation. If this force is interfered with by your conscious mind intruding its negative thoughts, fears, worries, jealousies, hates, and petty problems, this intelligence within is impeded and cannot perform its perfect work. Its job is to keep your body healthy, and it will do so if the mind expresses a confident, positive mind power at all times. In the natural realm, we see this perfect expression of the divine mind power radiating through all living, growing things. The rose bush does not use its conscious power to question its destiny, to fear its future, to worry about where it came from or where it's going. It silently and joyously acquiesces with the divine intelligence, which is its life force, and radiates its perfume and beauty for the world to share and enjoy. Counter the negative force of your mind with positive mind power. Whenever someone tells you that you will be sick, have an accident, or be in financial difficulties, counter the suggestions instantly by saying or thinking the opposite. Positive mind power suggestions. I am healthy and strong. I will remain vital and energetic. Germs have no power over me. I keep my resistance high by being positive in mind power. I am under the loving protection of divine mind, therefore I cannot and will not have accidents. My body is insulated spiritually by positive mind power. I am able to overcome all tendencies to disaster. I inherit the bounties of the universe. Divine mind gives me universal abundance. I now claim my heritage. I am rich, and all my needs are met for all time. Those positive suggestions immediately release positive mind power to your body. This energy radiates to the universe and forms a powerful magnet, which attracts the qualities and conditions of the things you affirm in mind. 3. Positive mind power applied to happiness. Happiness, too, is a condition of mind. When body is harmoniously tuned to mind, and the health is good, happiness should follow as a natural effect. If your mind is busy creating a picture of the happiness you will have in the future, or visualizing the happiness you have had in the past, you are ignoring the infinite possibilities inherent in the present moment for supreme happiness. As happiness is a state of mind and depends on positive thinking, you will never be any happier than you are at this moment in your destiny. If your happiness is the type that depends on a fortune, a person, or a situation, then when you attain that fortune, person, or situation, you will still want other conditions upon which your happiness must depend. Happiness through imaginative power. Imagination is a stimulus to happiness. If we are capable of imagining a situation, we are capable of attaining that situation. The importance of imagination is clearly shown by man's evolutionary progress throughout the ages. As man began to imagine the uses to which he could put lumber and earth, grass and animal skins, the more skill he acquired in their use for shelter, clothing, and his other necessities. As man began to imagine raising structures 50 or 100 stories above the earth, so too his ability to accomplish the miracle developed. As imagination is a stimulating factor in the attainment of anything we desire, it can be used to produce human happiness. Spend more time in imagining the situations you desire for happiness, and less time in imagining the unhappy and depressing situations. Mentally prepare for happiness, and you will set the body and brain reflex mechanism for attaining it. Psychologists now find that the simple act of smiling depends first on the physical act, and then the mental feeling or emotion of happiness follows. This process may be reversed, so that you find something to be happy about mentally first, and then the muscles of the face react in a smile. As your mind is imbued with these imaginary situations and acts, the nervous energy flows to your glands and nerves and muscles, causing an immediate positive reaction of happiness. In your mind's eye, then see that party you are going to attend as being one of the happiest events of your life. Visualize that day at the office as being one that will present innumerable opportunities for happiness. Soon you will be so imbued with this spirit of happiness that you must inevitably radiate optimism and cheer. These qualities are infectious, and in response to your smiles and lightheartedness, others will vibrate with a sympathetic responsiveness, creating the situations that make for pleasantness. In this way, you will attract through your positive mind power the happiness you desire. 4. Positive mind power applied to the attraction of friends. You will find in life that you attract the type of friends who possess qualities that are similar to your own. The old saying, "Birds of a feather flock together," is a very true one. Gamblers, drunkards, and dope addicts generally associate with others of their ilk. Seldom do you find them seeking out ministers, college professors, or intellectuals. They feel more comfortable with those who speak their language. So too, in attracting friends, one of the first rules should be to check your own mind, your likes and dislikes, good and bad qualities, to determine what your attraction quality will be. Are your standards of life high? If so, you will not be happy with people whose standards are low. You may meet many whose standards are lower than yours, but you would not care to have such persons for intimate friends. If you are not satisfied that you are attracting friends who have high standards, then examine again your own mind and see if you are prepared to attract more superior friends. If you wish to attract those who possess great intellectual capacity, or those who are in important positions, you must prepare your own consciousness by acquiring intellectuality and elevating your mind to a comprehension of their place in life. As your standards in life change from low to mediocre or high, so too, you will find your evaluation of your friends changing. Many times the friendships of your early life become bitter disappointments in later years. You have progressed mentally, whereas your old friends may have stagnated mentally. You no longer feel comfortable in each other's presence. Determine the type of friends you wish to attract, and then religiously acquire the qualities, culture, intellect, knowledge, that accurately reflects the quality of their minds. Soon you will inevitably gravitate into their spheres, or they into yours. If you choose musicians as friends, study and know something of music. Join musical clubs or choral groups. Seek out the choir members of your local church or any other musical organization. Here you will attract those friends who have interests similar to yours. You possess a common bond. Your chances of making lasting friendships among such people who vibrate in harmony to you and your interests is much greater than if you associate with a club or lodge made up entirely of people whose interests are totally dissimilar. Lodges, service clubs for businessmen, groups of lawyers, doctors, school teachers, writers' clubs and stamp collectors' groups, magicians and hunters, bricklayers and plumbers, organize into social units for the one common purpose of finding those souls who are harmonious to them and who have similar interests. That, then, is one of the first requisites of successful friendship. The second vital point is stated briefly in Emerson's words, "If you want a friend, be a friend. You can only attract friends if you show friendly qualities." Holding yourself aloof, being cold and indifferent, giving out words of discouragement. These are negative approaches that will rapidly lose friends rather than attract them. A few other valuable points to remember. Flatter when you feel it sincerely. Recognize their weaknesses, but do not throw them up to them. Encourage your friends to develop their own virtues. Share their joys, hopes, and dreams, but do not attempt to evade their losses, fears, and perplexities. Friendship consists of giving more than you hope to receive. Examples of positive mind power overcoming obstacles. Woolworth began his chain of 5 and 10-cent stores with a limited capital of only $300. His first 3 stores failed. He applied positive mind power and started to build on the wreckage of his previous failures. About 30 years later, he was able to pay $14 million cash for the Woolworth building, then the highest in the world. If he had accepted defeat and permitted negativity to rule his mind, it is doubtful if he could ever have amassed the vast fortune he did, or to build a gigantic business organization that still survives. Sir Isaac Newton, who began life as a not overly brilliant student, had no awakening of this positive mind power in those early years. It is said of him that he was so absent-minded that he once boiled his watch for 3 minutes while watching the egg. He was always late in his classes and considered backward by his teacher. Yet this man, when positive mind power awakened to its fullest expression in early maturity, discovered the great gravitational law and brought further scientific comprehension of the law of action and reaction. Einstein was a backward child in his early years, and his parents had great difficulty in teaching him to speak. When positive mind power awakened, he became Einstein, the great mathematician and discoverer of the theory of relativity. A story is told of Einstein in his early days. He gave the conductor on a streetcar a bill, and when the change was given him, Einstein argued that the amount was incorrect. After a lengthy discussion, it was found that the conductor was right and Einstein wrong. The conductor dismissed him with a muttered invective and this famous line, "The trouble with you, bud, is that you don't know how to figure." When mind power is positive and radiant, even physical infirmities, sickness, deformity itself cannot keep its possessors down. History is replete with famous men and women who have applied this positive mind power to the overcoming of their physical limitations. Robert Louis Stevenson was confined to bed with an incurable ailment for years, and yet did some of his most magnificent and prolific writing in that period by sheer dominance of mind power. The noted example of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, one of the great writers of all time, and her astounding use of mind power in overcoming her physical limitations, is too well known to dwell on lengthily here. To add to her imperishable fame was the crowning achievement of positive mind power in winning the love of Robert Browning, when he might have had his choice of any one of the beauties of that day. Then there is the outstanding example of the physically handicapped Steinmetz, the great inventor, who overcame all limitations of body and rose triumphantly on wings of positive mind power to achieve a most brilliant success. Colton says, "Times of great calamity and confusion have ever been productive of the greatest minds. The purest ore is produced from the hottest furnaces, and the brightest thunderbolt is elicited from the darkest storm." So too, the times of tribulation and discouragement may be the very moments needed to give you that extra soul power, which can stimulate you on to greater achievement. Turn your misfortune to good fortune by applying positive mind power. Never accept any situation as being final or ended. See only beginnings, never endings. The sun sets, but always it can be depended on to rise again. So too, the divine intelligence within you is constantly radiating new power, and this positive mind power can be depended on to carry you to the very pinnacles of success and happiness.